Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel with me, Naomi, and my customary cup of tea. So, sorry I've been away recently, it's been a very busy week, but since today is International Women's Day, I thought I would make a video about my favourite female authors. So when I was thinking about my favourite female authors, I honestly couldn't narrow it down to 10. And so my list is 12. There will be some authors who I've read a lot of, some I've only read one book of but just really want to include them. So yeah, let's get this going. So in no particular order, the first person on my list is Holly Black. Now if you've been on this channel, you know that I love Holly Black. I think she is just such a wonderful writer. I love the worlds that she creates, I love her characters, I love the diversity, and honestly I can't get enough of her work. I've read all the Folk of Air, so that's The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King. I've read her Modern Fairy Tales trilogy, and I'm currently reading The Darkest Part of the Forest. So if you love fantasy, Holly Black is definitely for you. She has a very rich world and a wonderful way of writing, and she is definitely a must-read for every YA fantasy lover out there. Next on my list is 𝙼𝚂𝚂𝙸𝙲. She is the author of the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness, the first one being Wolf Brother, and this is one of the series that got me into reading as a child, and for that I will be forever eternally grateful. So the research that goes into 𝙼𝚂𝚂𝚲's books is just phenomenal, and I think this is one of the reasons I loved her work so much, is because I believed everything she wrote, no matter how fantastical or unbelievable, because the worlds she created was so solid that like everything she said was just obviously true. Then we have Louise O'Neill. So Louise O'Neill is one of the authors that actually inspired me to start writing the story I've always wanted to write. She is an unabashed feminist and she completely deserves a place on this list. She is a relatively new author and she's written works such as The Surface Breaks, Only Ever Yours, and Asking for It. Louise O'Neill is fearless in her writing, she is brave, and she also writes really interesting articles for I think it's the Irish Guardian, I do believe. I will leave a link down below if I can find one, but her articles on feminism are just wonderful and I love to just sit down and read those outside of her own novels. So another favourite is a newfound author, and that is Leigh Bardugo, the creator of the Shadowborn trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. Now I'm pretty sure everyone on booktube knows who Leigh Bardugo is, but you know, Six of Crows is all I need to say when talking about how wonderful of a writer Leigh Bardugo is. I just love the representation of books, I love the characters, I love the story, I love the world, and yeah, I can't wait to read King of Scars. Blech. The next author on my list is Nikita Gill, or Nikita Jill, I'm so sorry, I'm not sure which one it is. And she is the author of Fierce Fairy Tales, which is a collection of fantasy poetry, and honestly, it changed my life. I absolutely adored it. I really wish I had my copy of the book on me right now because there are so many beautiful quotes that just secure her place on this list, and I'm actually really excited to read more from her. And if you do know any more poetry collections or novels she's written, please do leave your recommendations in the comment section below. Now the next author on my list is Stephanie Garber. Now I've only read Caraval, but I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the best book I've ever read, but it did keep me guessing until the very end. And as someone who's watched a lot of crime shows and loves to guess how things work out, this is a serious feat. And I'm actually really excited to read both Legendary and, is it Final? I'm terrible. I'm terrible at like saying names. But I'm really excited to read more of her work, and I think for that reason I really want to put her on this list. And she's a relatively new author, and I think new authors deserve all the support they can get. The next author is Christina Henry. So as you all know, I adore Christina Henry. She wrote The Lost Boy and The Mermaid, among many other books, and just her work is fantastic. The books that I've read by her are retellings of popular fairy tales with a twist. So for example, The Lost Boy is Peter Pan before the Peter Pan we know, and it's all about how Captain Hook came to be, and The Mermaid is kind of like The Greatest Showman meets The Little Mermaid, and it's about P.T. Barnum and his Fijian mermaid, but with more of a fantastical twist. Next on my list is another new author, and that is Margaret Rogerson. Now, Margaret Rogerson wrote an Enchantment of Ravens, which is one of my all-time favourite books just for its autumny romance feels, and I'm really excited because I have an arc of The Sorcery of Thorns and I will hopefully be finishing that this month. And I just love her writing. I love the characters, I love the worlds, I love how you can just get lost in them and you just enjoy them for what they are, which is wonderful stories. The next person on my list is Joanna Naden. Now, Joanna Naden is actually really special to me because she was actually my manuscript tutor for my MA in creative writing, and so we spent quite a lot of time together talking about books and writing, and she is such a wonderful author and I feel really lucky that I've had the chance to work with her. She writes a lot of middle grade, but she does write YA, and she has I do believe it categorises under adult novel, which is the queen of bloody everything, which is just honestly so wonderful. So if you do enjoy reading an array of books, please do go check out Joanna Naden because she's just wonderful, and she's also very stylish. Her Instagram is full of her in stylish second-hand outfits. The next person on my list is Banana Yoshimoto. So she is a Japanese author and I just adore her work. So as someone who can pretty much speak Japanese, I find it really interesting when I read the English because I can kind of hear the Japanese way of saying it in my head, and it's really interesting how it translates into English when you give it such a literal translation. But I just love her work. It's a little bit quirky and a little bit weird, and that's what I absolutely adore about her work. And it really does transport you and kind of puts you in that very Japanese atmosphere. And when I read her work, I can, you know, I can see how everything is, and I can remember the feelings that being in Japan and living in Japan brought for me. So for that, I really love Banana Yoshimoto, and she just writes really interesting pieces of work, and they tend to be quite short as well, so they're really easy to get through. The next on my list is also an author I've only read one book from, and that is Naomi Novik. I absolutely adored Uprooted, and while I do have Spinning Silver, I have not had a chance to read it yet. It's actually back in Canada, so I'll have to wait. I think I'm going to wait until next Christmas to read it because it just seems like a very Christmassy kind of book. But I adored Uprooted and I just devoured that book, and it really helped. You know when you kind of have a reading slump and then one book brings you out of it? Well, Uprooted was that book for me, so for that reason Naomi Novik has to be on this list. Another author I love but I've only read one book is Han Kang. So this is a Korean author and I adore her book The Vegetarian. As a vegetarian myself, I picked it up, I was like, cool, what's this going to be about? Nothing like I expected, but I felt it was quite feminist in tone, it was strong, and it just hooked me. I remember sitting in Starbucks in Nagasaki and I was there and I was just devouring this book. I was just sitting in the window and I was devouring it, and I didn't even look up to people watch, which I like to do. I just read straight through it, and it was such a wonderful book and it really captured my imagination. It really caught my attention. So for that, I really want to read more of her work, and if you do have any more suggestions, please do put them in the comment section below. So I now have 4 bonus authors, and these are from classical writers. So the first on my list is Christina Rossetti. Now, not many people know who Christina Rossetti is. She's the sister of Gabriel Dante Rossetti, and she's actually the author of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. She also wrote the popular Christmas song In the Bleak Midwinter, but she is probably most famous for The Goblin Market, which is one of my all-time favourite poems. I actually have like a thin, slender copy of it on my bookshelf. I adore it, I've read it many times, and whoa, is that not a heavy, heavy poem? It is quite feminist in tone, it is warning, it is cautioning, and I think if you love any kind of like high fantasy, you should definitely read it. In fact, I would actually read this in conjunction with The Cruel Prince, because there's a lot of Christina Rossetti vibes in The Cruel Prince, in the whole fairy fruit and be careful what you do and be careful the bargains you make and be careful that you don't get drawn into this fantastical world. And yeah, I studied pre-Raphaelites in university and I just love Christina Rossetti. The next person on my list is Emily Bronte, who wrote Wuthering Heights. I adore Wuthering Heights. It was one of the first books I studied at school, and for this she has to be on my list because the first chapter of Wuthering Heights opened my eyes to how fantastic writing can be and how small little things can convey such a bigger meaning, and for that she has to be on my list because honestly Wuthering Heights is a phenomenal book. And what list would be complete without Jane Austen? I mean, she wrote Pride and Prejudice, she introduced me to one of my first loves, which was Mr. Darcy, and one of my first role models, which was Elizabeth Bennet, so she has to be on this list. You know, she hasn't just written Pride and Prejudice, there are many other things I really enjoy, like Emma, but honestly, Pride and Prejudice will always have a special place in my heart because it's, you all know, you all get it. And the last person on this list of the bonuses is Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. Now, I adore Frankenstein. It is one of my favourite books of all time, and Mary Shelley is amazing in it. I actually really want to see, I know there's a film come out about Mary Shelley, and I'm desperate to see it. So I'm hoping I can like find that somewhere soon. But honestly, I really love Frankenstein, and I'm kind of wondering now if she's written anything else. I'm sure she must have. I definitely need to go check out more of her work because Frankenstein was just so revolutionary. And yeah, I just adored it. I love the whole morals, the whole question about nature and nurture, and yeah, she was just a phenomenal writer. So can I just say I completely forgot to add an amazing author to this list, and that is V.E. Schwab. I absolutely adore her work. When I first filmed this, well, when I filmed this video, I hadn't actually read any of her work, but I since have, and she 1,000,000 times deserves to be on this list. I met her and she's honestly like the nicest person ever, and I'm so sorry that you weren't on the original list, but you are now. And yeah, V.E. Schwab deserves to be at the top of this list. Just wanted to kind of put this in you. I know I look a bit rubbish today, but it was, yeah, it was more important that I added her in, and I couldn't be bothered to do my makeup. But anyway, back to the video. So that's it for this video. I just wanted to give a big shout out to every female author who's not on this list, every female author who is yet to write her book, and yeah, just to everyone who is in the world basically, because it's a sad state of affairs that we still live in a world where we have to fight for equal rights. And sometimes I turn on Twitter and I'm like, how are things still this way? But I'm confident and hopeful that with more people talking about such issues, they will soon become a thing that is just, you know, obvious. Like, of course there's equal rights, why wouldn't there be? And I will always fight for that kind of future. So I just wanted to send all my love to every woman and female identifying human being in my life. You're all wonderful, you're all strong, and you inspire me every single day. And I will continue fighting for your rights and the rights of everyone that you love too. So that's it for today, guys. Happy Women's International Day. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Bye. This is like way too close. I'm so sorry this is so close. My camera is broke and the only lens I have is this one, and I can't move my camera back any further. Maybe if I could like sink into the bookshelf. That would be great. Oh my god, I should just film from the very back. Just have my head poking through. That would be whoa, that would be really weird, but see ya.